In today's episode, let's talk about AI tools. My friend Nicole Leffer pointed out the other day on LinkedIn an excellent observation that true generative AI experts don't have like 8,000 tools. Right? They're not piling up tools left, right, and center. True AI experts typically only have a handful of tools. Usually, the foundational models: Claude, ChatGPT, Google Gemini. In my case, I'm a big user of Gemini. And I thought that observation was really good, and I wanted to look at a couple of other examples of how this kind of plays out, because I think it's a useful thing to look at. So let me go ahead and share my screen here, because I want to point out something I saw. Bring up my screen here and let's bring up two images. When you think about how experts do stuff, right? Experts typically don't have a gazillion tools, right? They've not bought 500 different things. This is from a YouTube video. This is Rachael Ray's kitchen, the professional chef Rachael Ray, and you can see here in this diagram, this images. This is from one of her pandemic videos. There's a panini press in the background there. There is the really nice pizza oven. There's a dishwasher, coffee maker, espresso machine, a really nice gas range, but not a ton of stuff, right? She doesn't have every kitchen gadget in the world. The things that she does have in that kitchen, the appliances she did buy, are top quality, like super top quality. The dishwasher over here, on the right-hand side, that is a Jackson WWS Dish Star. That thing is $6,600. That's a commercial dishwasher. That pizza oven, that's a custom build. That is a custom-built pizza oven. That was probably tens of thousands of dollars. So she doesn't have, the counter is not littered with every possible kitchen appliance. It doesn't look like a shelf at Target. But you know what she does have? Look around that kitchen, and then look around her pantry. What does she have everywhere? Ingredients. There's like piles of the Cento San Marzano tomatoes, which is an excellent tomato. There's some tomato juice there. There's looks either orzo or oh gosh, I'm forgetting the name of it. They got a bunch of pasta there, some tuna fish cans, and I think it's kind of funny personally. I don't actually see any of the Rachael Ray branded food there, which should tell you something. But what she has all over her kitchen: ingredients everywhere. Ingredients, fresh herbs in the windowsill, right? She was pointing this out. There's got fresh herbs in the windowsill. Got foodstuffs all over the counters. There's tomatoes and potatoes and various vegetables and all this stuff. She's got spices. Like if we go back to the pantry photo, there's a whole section of the shelving here is all just spices, crammed to the rafters. This is not like cheap stuff. This is the good stuff. And what this says to me is this is the perfect analogy for how we should be thinking about generative AI. Right? When you look at the MarTech 14,000, right, there's 14,000 companies, and almost all of them have AI, or they claim they have the AI in their tools. You don't need 14,000 services. What you need are a few appliances, aka models, that are incredibly capable, versatile, very powerful, right? You don't need every gadget in the world. You don't need an automatic electric egg separator, right? You don't see that in this kitchen. What you do see, and what you do need, as we saw in Rachel's kitchen, is data. Lots of data, fresh data, high quality data. That's what you need. Tools like ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude are incredibly powerful and astonishingly inexpensive despite their power. So they won't cost nearly as much as Rachel's dishwasher did. But that's a great analogy for how you should be thinking about generative AI. Get a few tools, get a ton of really good high quality ingredients. And then what you can't see at all in Rachel's photos and videos is the decades of practice she has, the skills she has to make use of those tools and the ingredients, right? She has a library of cooking principles and recipes in her head. And so if you're thinking, well, how do we prioritize our investment, our spend, our focus on generative AI? Your skills should be number one. That should be the majority of your investment, getting good at using the few tools you have and the data you have. Number two should be your data. And then number three should be your tools. Right? That is the order in which you should be making your generative AI investments, not spending $10,000 a month on this, that, and the other tool. Yes, every vendor will tell you you need their tool. You need their unique way of doing AI and their unique value proposition and all that stuff. Most, I would say like 80% of the vendors in the generative AI space are nothing more than a nice UI on someone else's model. And I would wager a Rachael Ray pastry that 6 months from now, 80% of those companies won't be in business. Because once you learn how to use the foundation tools well, there isn't much that you need these tools for. For example, there's all these AI tools that claim, we'll help you, do this kind of writing. You can do any kind of writing with a foundation model really well, and the foundation models are incredibly good at it. I just finished working on the next edition of my book, written entirely with Gemini. I didn't have to use a third-party tool. How did I do it? There'll be a whole different post on this, but I basically took 2 years of all of my other content and said, okay, I'm just going to have you copy and paste and crib from me to write my book. I'm intentionally plagiarizing from myself to write my book. Right? You can do that with a foundation tool. So the key takeaway here is this: skills first, data second, tools third. That is the order that you should be investing time, effort, and money in generative AI. That's going to do it for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you on the next one. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And if you want to know when new videos are available, hit the bell button to be notified as soon as new content is live.